All right, what's up and welcome inside Sportstopia Fantasy Fire and Ice NBA edition. Your boy Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, my man Stu and Tom Viera on the program today. Coming up, I want to recap some of the NBA stuff we talked about or we saw last night. Obviously the first night of a good big slate. So really everybody has played so far this season except for the Milwaukee Bucks and the Philadelphia 76ers. Well, those two teams happen to be playing each other tonight. So we'll get in there and break that one down. Also, we got King James and Kevin Durant going at it once again as we start another NBA season. Lakers and Phoenix Suns tonight as well. And then I want to mention and discuss a little in-season tournament stuff as well. But gentlemen, what's going on? Stu, what's up with you, my man?
It's the best time of year. Obviously, we're now 2 days into the NBA season. We've got the MLB playoffs. NFL is going. Obviously, Sportstopia channel is pumping out content for all this stuff. So I'm fired up. A lot of great stuff going on right now. I love the NBA. I love my Wizards, even though, we started out the season with the loss. I'm still fired up and ready to go.
All right, Tom, I think we did the draft together, but this is our first time working together. What's going on with you?
Yeah, I wasn't there for the draft, but this is our first time. I'm just like Stu said. I'm just pumped that NBA's back. I mean, it's incredible time.
All right, so starting off last night, I believe the totals went 6-6, but we did see the favorites rule tonight. 7 favorites cashing last night. 5 underdogs getting it done as well. But obviously, you want to start with the big story that was last night. It was the debut of Victor Wembanyama. Dallas Mavericks 126, Stu. San Antonio Spurs 119. Wembanyama was the show coming into it, but the Dallas Mavericks, they get the cover on the road. Luka Doncic with a 30-point triple-double was a game-time decision most of the night. Comes right out, night one, getting it done. It's like, okay, how do we forget about Luka?
Yeah, it's always funny when probably the best player in the game isn't the story of the game. And I guess he took that personally, right? No one in the world was talking about Luka coming into that game, and everyone in the world was talking about him after the game. So that was a great performance. Lively, the rookie center as well for Dallas, the Duke product, got in there instantly, was making a difference in crunch time. Very fun game. Obviously, if you're a Wemby supporter, you might have some mixed feelings. The foul trouble, the minutes probably killed any bets you had out there. But overall, it was still a good showing. You can tell San Antonio, they're in it now. The rebuild has started. The crowd was fired up. The young guys were fired up. That's a team we're going to have to watch out for years to come.
Devin Vassell, Tom, and Keldon Johnson led the Spurs in scoring. Spurs was in this game. They fought through most of it. I thought they had a good chance to cover this one coming down the stretch. But Wembanyama, 15 points last night, only 1 block, 2 steals, 2 assists, 5 boards. Obviously, in 23 minutes of action, we'll expect Wemby to get it revved up. But what I did see, Tom, that 3 is wet.
Yeah, it's incredible to see somebody out there that's that big, that long, stretching the floor like that. I mean, the closest thing that we've seen is Kristaps Porzingis shooting 28-footers, 30-footers, and Wembanyama. It's on another level. You mentioned he only had 1 block, but he's changing shots even just from his reach. He changes the entire way the San Antonio Spurs just look on the floor. They were a bunch of young guys. They were out there. They were making mistakes. And, yeah, they're going to do that. They're going to do that late in the game. That's what happened in that game. They made mistakes late. Keldon Johnson, he had a great game, but they ended up losing it because a couple late turnovers in the last 2 minutes. Obviously, when Kyrie went down and hit that wide-open corner 3, they made a couple defensive mistakes too, and they double-teamed when they shouldn't have. But they definitely have some promise. And Wembanyama, I think he's going to deliver for them for sure.
I think this is the best that they have looked in the past couple of seasons. I thought that win total was low, you know what I'm saying, coming into it. Considering it's Popovich, it was funny that Steve Kerr said that Pop was reinvigorated and Pop shot back, screw him. Let's just put it like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's good to see, Greg Popovich getting this opportunity to coach this star, and we'll see what happens as we move on, but definitely a good performance. And like you said, the Dallas Mavericks, they came out, they got the job done. The other nationally televised game last night, Stu, was New York Knicks and Boston Celtics. I was on the Knicks money line in this one right here, right? And this was one where every time I would turn to the game, the Knicks would fall behind. And then when I would leave the game, I would check the score and the Knicks would be tied. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, it's me tonight. I'm just going to lay out. You know what I'm saying? But what we did see, and I'll be honest, Stu, I've been very critical of Kristaps Porzingis. And then what I'll say is this. I think it's more in the postseason when you see what Porzingis really is. But last night, fantastic. 30 points, 8 rebounds. But really, when he got it done behind the arc, 5 and 9 from 3. Celtics get the win and the covering the 3.5. They go into Madison Square Garden and win night 1. This Boston Celtics team, Stu, I hate to say this, they're very good.
They're very good. And two, you even mentioned a guy like Porzingis. When you ask him to do too much, that's when he gets exposed. But on the Celtics team, they're not going to ask him to do too much. They have other guys that can take advantage of those flaws, those weaknesses. A guy like Drew Holiday, one of the best defensive guards in the league. We know Tatum and Brown are going to keep doing what they're doing. Adding that other lethal weapon that honestly, for a lot of that game, he was kind of just sitting there in the corner. And it worked. It got him that 30 points. Because when you think about it logically, how are you going to guard Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and still make sure to cover that 7'4" guy who's just standing in the corner waiting for the ball? So he clearly made his presence known. I know New York has some strong feelings about Porzingis with their past there, but he's been playing great basketball. And like you said, the Celtics team is just going to continue to be an absolute force in the Eastern Conference this year.
Tom, I was chanting along with the Groton crowd.
Hey, I'm upset I wasn't there. I'm upset I wasn't there, to be honest. I mean, I'm a diehard Knicks fan, and yeah, it was a tough way to start the season. But I'll tell you what, the Celtics, they certainly impressed. I liked Milwaukee. I actually have a ticket on Milwaukee to win the Eastern Conference, and I'm about to backtrack on it already. I look at the Celtics, and with all the moves they made. So they replaced Robert Williams with Kristaps Porzingis. That's an upgrade. They replaced Marcus Smart with Drew Holiday. That's an upgrade. I think what Holiday is going to bring for them, and we saw it in the game last night, is going to be, it's the leadership and the smart decisions down the stretch where they're not going to, Marcus Smart is a baller. He's a grinder, but Drew Holiday is going to make the right decisions late in the game, get the ball, We've seen times with the Celtics in the playoffs where Jason Tatum isn't able to get a shot off because they're waiting until there's 3 seconds left on the shot clock. I just don't think it's going to happen with Holiday there now, and obviously Porzingis. I mean,
and see the thing,
what kills as a Knicks fan.
What you saw last night, right? Jalen Brunson was 6 of 21. You know why? There you go. That's Drew Holiday, right? And then when you get deep into the season in those playoff matchups, those big time Eastern Conference playoff matchups, you can slap Drew Holiday on Damian Lillard, and that's a difference maker right there. So definitely pretty tough. But, Stu, the Knicks, they was in there. They fought. If they would have hit their free throws, they would have won the game.
Yeah, and hey, listen, as someone that had Knicks +4, I'm still not too mad, okay? I got some it ended up okay. And I will say, if we were impressed with the Celtics, then I think inherently we have to be impressed with the Knicks because they hung in there. They gave them a really good fight. Like you said, at times it looked like they were going to win that game outright. It was kind of a game of runs. So for me, it kind of proved what we were saying before the season, that the Knicks they're a legit team. You got to be worried about these guys because Brunson is not going to shoot 6 for 21 every day. And when he makes those shots and when they're going in, this is a very hard team to defend as well.
No doubt. Hey, so Tom, how you feel about the Knicks this season? Can they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals?
I think it depends.
I'm just gonna right out the gate. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to take the easy way out. I'm just going to say it depends on who they're matched up with in the first and the second round for sure.
Yeah.
If they run into the Bucks,
they haven't been able. They struggle against them.
Yeah, it's like it would be. I even think Cleveland. So for me, I think Cleveland is like they have had another year to get it together. I think they're going to finish ahead of the Knicks. So that's just where I'm at. I wish. I really hope, but I think the Knicks are going to have to make another trade. And I hope it's Julius Randle, man.
Yeah, that's that Knicks fan talking right now. You know what I'm saying? Ready to run Julius Randle out the garden. But no, I do understand where you're coming from. He has not been prime time in the postseason. Tom, stay right here, though. Game that I really had my eye on last night that I really wanted to get an eye on was the Washington Wizards and the Indiana Pacers. And, that number steamed from 7.5. I believe that number may have closed at 4.5. And then I'm like, oh, wow. And then the first quarter starts, and I'm like, wow, you know what? The Wizards is live. The Wizards is live in this game. And then we get into the second quarter, and I'm like, oh, my God. Yo, listen, the Pacers scored 143 points last night, Tom. They shot 46% from three. Halliburton was getting it done. Matherman was getting it done. Obi Toppin, Bruce Brown was getting it done. Nembhard coming off the bench getting it done. I was very impressed with the Pacers last night.
I think it's funny to say. I think that the Pacers, they had a great shooting night, but I think when everybody goes up against the Wizards this year, they're going to have great shooting.
Yeah, that could be the case. Yeah.
They're going to be a run and gun all season long. It's just going to be, that's an over spot. I feel like the Wizards have been the last probably 3 or 4 seasons, if not longer, where every team that's gone up against them, I mean, they run in Jordan Poole, Kuzma. These guys, nobody there is defensive minded, in my opinion. So it's, give them credit. The Pacers, they shot the ball well. That's what I just feel like. Whenever anybody's going to be up against them, you have to take care of business. And the Pacers did. The Pacers are going to be a better team this season for sure, and they showed last night.
Stu, your man, our boy. So last night I pivoted off of pool props because I knew they were going to be overvalued because everybody was hitting them, particularly the scoring. So I went to Kyle Kuzma, cashed that one easily. You know what I'm saying? But your man Jordan Poole, 0 for 6 from 3 right out the gate. Right, he didn't waste no time.
Yeah, the pool came up a little dry in game number 1. We're gonna have to get some refills going for game 2. But yeah, it was a tough shooting night. Like you said, they came out hot, and then they really got weird with the substitutions. There were a lot of bench guys maybe overstaying their welcome a little bit too long. The starters saw reduced minutes because of that. And that kind of kills you. But that also is what happens when you're a rebuilding team. I mean, we're only game 1 into the season, and we're already seeing weird rotations. We're seeing minutes that you didn't expect. That's what happens when you have these young teams. That's why when we were talking before the season, I was on the under for the win total, because at the end of the day, the Wizards aren't going to win too many games. And like Tom said, you kind of got to take care of business when you're playing them.
All right. So now, next Friday, we start the NBA in-season tournament. So basically, each conference has 3 groups, right? The East has a Group A, a Group B, and a Group C. The West has a Group A, a Group B, and a Group C. So the winner of these 3 groups on each conference, right? So in the East, you'll have 3 group winners, and you'll have 1 wild card. In the West, you'll have 3 group winners and 1 wild card, and they'll go into like a little 4 teams, and then they'll advance like, a typical tournament. Stu, the Group A in the East has the 76ers, the Cavaliers, the Hawks, the Pacers, and the Pistons. Philadelphia is the favorite to win the group at 2-1. Well, the Cavs are also 2-1. Co-favorites at 2-1. Atlanta is 4-1. We're going to talk about Atlanta in a minute. The Pacers 5-1. The Pistons 13-1. I think the Pacers can come out this.
I don't mind that. It's that kind of thing you were saying right there of when you play that run and gun style, you can beat anyone with a good shooting night too. And honestly, what impressed me last night is the depth, right? This is a team that can pull off that Nembhard, that Hield, that Toppin lineup off the bench. Those are their second unit guys in a lot of these lineups as well. For me, another name that stuck out too, I wish we were getting a better price. Maybe we will at some point, but this feels perfect for the Cavs to win. Like the Cavs get some kind of
yeah.
This is like the consolation prize tournament where I don't believe in the Cavs in the real playoffs when the lights are the brightest. I think they're going to be a good regular season team. This is like the perfect halfway in the middle where they win a tournament. Their defense shines, but then they don't actually get it done in the real postseason.
Tom, I think Philadelphia is the weakest in-season tournament, quote unquote, 1 seed. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the other teams in the East, it's the Bucks is the Group B, had the shortest odds in Group B. The Celtics had the shortest odds in Group C. Then in the West, it's the Suns, the Nuggets, and the Warriors, right? So Philadelphia looks to be the weak link as far as the favorites go, right? That's how I look at it. Atlanta, I'm about to trash Atlanta in a second. And it's only been one night, and I get it. But one thing I will say, and Stu mentions the Cavaliers, what we saw last night in Brooklyn is Donovan Mitchell is one of the best closers in the NBA.
For sure. I think, it's, I know we're going to touch on the 76ers in a little bit, but I really don't think they should be, I don't think they should be favorites. Sure. Joel Embiid he's an MVP, right? He is the MVP, but whether you believe it or not. But yeah, a team like Cleveland, this seems like it's built for them. You're right, Stu. I think, seeing them last year in the playoffs just totally crumble under the bright lights. This seems like a Cleveland Cavaliers type of situation where they can go out. And I do like Indiana. I think the value is on Indiana, to be honest. But yeah, the Sixers are, like I said, we'll get into it.
The Cavaliers are plus 1,300 to win the in-season tournament.
I just don't think they can get by anybody in the West.
Yeah. It really depends on how the teams treat this. Like, are the Bucks going to treat this like we're trying to win this? Or the Celtics going to treat this like we're trying to win this? See, I can see the Lakers, LeBron James will try to win everything. You see what I'm saying? If he can get involved, if he can say, I was the first one, I won it. Michael Jordan didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? He's going to go for it. You know what I mean? But I don't really see the Celtics going for it.
I agree. It's very frustrating when it's the first time something's ever happened. We have no clue as fans right here. And like you said, is the locker room just going to be like, guys, this is another game. We have the real postseason to worry about. That's why I like a Cavs level team where the championship isn't on the Cavs' mind. They want to be there. That's the goal. That's the hope at the end of the season. The Celtics, the championship is on their mind. The Bucks, that is all you're thinking about is that finals trophy right there. I'd rather go for one of these teams that is hopeful. They want to be on that level, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah,
what's the incentive for them? It's $500,000, right?
Yeah,
I thought it was a mil. It's 500. It's 500,000.
It might be a mil. They might have upped it. It came out low. They initially got roasted for it. I remember it was $500K when it opened. They might have bumped it up after that.
That's not gonna get it done.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like you're saying, like for these teams to go out and like want to actually play, they're gonna need some incentive to like have their stars out there. I mean, for the stars to want to play.
Yeah. Well, basically, this is a television thing. This is a made for television thing. And can they say to the players, okay, let's take this serious 82 game mentality and let's see if we can. The NBA's television numbers are struggling, so they're trying to figure out ways to get that back. Like you heard Adam Silver last night, they're going back to East-West format. No Elam ending for the All-Star game. You know what I'm saying? So they're obviously experimenting with different things. And listen, I don't mind it. I think they've always been innovative in that point. Tom, one of the teams that we spent a lot of time talking about in the preseason was the Oklahoma City Thunder. Yesterday, this was interesting. This number kind of bounced around. The Bulls got steamed a little bit towards closing, but the Thunder going to Chicago and absolutely destroy the Bulls, 124-104. The Thunder cash as a underdog. Tom, they had a players only meeting. It was the first game of the season, Tom. The Billy Donovan, DeMar DeRozan, this thing is not working.
I think they might be the first team that's going to make a trade. They look terrible, and I mean the Thunder are better this year.
Yeah,
they're a good team. But man, those Bulls, they look bad. They look really bad. Zach LaVine is a great piece. I just like why have they not traded him? Why did they not trade him last summer? Why did they not trade him at the deadline last year? They are clearly not a playoff contender right now in the East against the Celtics, the Bucks, the Sixers, even the Heat. They should have broke it down a couple of years ago, in my opinion. Sure, DeRozan is fine, but DeRozan's getting in the latter stage of his career. But man, those Thunder look good. They look real good.
Shea gave him 31 and 10 last night, Stu. You know what I'm saying? He had a big night. He does what he does. Chet made his debut last night. Let me pull up his numbers right quick for Chet. Chet had 11, 4, and 3 with a steal. Turned the ball over once, whatever. Chet was also 2 or 3 from deep. Another big man with that stroke. Got it in. As a matter of fact, Oklahoma City shot 48% from 3. This is a playoff team in the Western Conference, Stu. But when I say a playoff team, I mean top 6.
It's hard to argue with at this point. That young core is the best we have in all of basketball right now. Obviously, multiple weapons at different positions. That kind of versatility is rare. And the crazy part, before you even go any crazier about the roster or the draft picks, they could instantly add one of the best players in the NBA with a snap like that. Like the draft capital they have, they could instantly upgrade their team at any second they want to. And to me, that's what makes it even more dangerous. So one day you're feeling Donovan Mitchell and you can just have him. Like that's not something anyone else in the NBA can do right now. So I'm glad Keith isn't here. He'd be coming at me pretty hard. My betting system failed, fading the Thunder in game 1. I was on the Bulls. The line movement was amazing. It was moving even farther to the Bulls. I'm thinking I'm sitting here on my island by myself, a couple other smart people with me, and it sank. It went bad pretty fast.
A lot of the line movement yesterday wasn't true. You know what I'm saying? The steam yesterday burned you yesterday. That Pacers steam, I felt the same. I mean, that Wizards team, I was like, oh, okay, the Wizards is live. And then the game start. And then I turned back and I'm like, oh boy, this is getting out of control. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that I did hit, and this was the best bet on the board for me yesterday, I saw this immediately, just kind of knowing these two teams, Atlanta and the Hawks and the Charlotte Hornets. I had under two, that number got to 236. And I was like, oh, this game is definitely going to come in under 236. Closes at 226. The Hornets, who have owned the Hawks in recent years, the Hornets get the 116 and 110 victory, Tom. And this one right here, Trae Young, 1 of 9 from 3. If Trae Young can't hit threes, he's really a mediocre player.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the Hawks sold on me. They were my favorite. They were my favorite bet. I had that ticket for 2 weeks headed into the season. They're my favorite opening night bet. Oh man, I thought the CLV, I'm like, oh, I should just cash it and just take it. Like, and it hurt last night. I really thought
the you sound like it did.
Yeah, you know, but it is what it is. It's only night 1, right? Or I guess 2 technically. But you know, I had a plus money Mark Williams double ticket.
Mark Williams, man, 15 bullets.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty active for the Hornets. You know, he's going to play. I would say he's going to play about 30 minutes a night. But man, those Hawks, you're right. Trae Young is if he's not making it, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for them.
Stu, I mean, I understand it's one game and you don't want to overreact, but it seems like when Young comes out the gate with a 1 from 9 from 3, it's like, okay, how bad is it? They're going to start booing him in Atlanta soon.
Yeah, this is a team that needs a player-only meeting right now. I mean, oh, God. Like, the thing is, too, the weird part is the young guys are not bad. Like, the bench guys they have on this team, Johnson obviously had a really good game off the bench. We have Sadiq Bey. We got Bojan, who's been there these last couple of years. This is a solid bench unit. To me, that's saying there's something wrong with this core of stars that's here, right? Because I like the tertiary pieces. I like the Hunters of the world. I even like Capella. The guy does his job. He sits there, he dunks the ball, he gets a couple blocks, grabs a couple rebounds. He knows his job. He's not doing anything crazy. It's the star duo. It's the DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. Something's got to give, and you got to take that next step if you want to be at superstardom, and they're not there right now, and there's no signs that they're even going to get there.
Yeah, I think Trae Young is gonna. I think he's going to be the biggest name that's moved at the deadline this year.
You think he gets moved at the deadline this year? So are you ready to say that we go out of? Would you be? It's too early to say you auto fade, but are you willing to say teams like the Bulls and the Hawks be very careful betting on them?
Yeah, I just feel like you have to be, especially after what we saw on night 1. It's, you know, every year there's always changes. You know, so early on it's always best to just be, you know, mindful and be careful. You know, bankroll management it's key, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, the Hawks and the Bulls are definitely 2 tough teams, I think, to back after what we saw night 1.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So you know what I'm saying? Those 2 teams, keep an eye on them. I can't really, you know, trust those 2 teams coming out the gate. The Detroit Pistons covered a big spread versus Miami, but Miami is notoriously terrible versus the spread. The Pelicans go into Memphis, get a pretty comfortable 7-point victory. A slimmed down Desmond Bane led the game with 31 points. He was 5 of 10 from 3. Marcus Smart made his debut, 17 points, 2 steals. Particularly bad night for Jaren Jackson Jr. 0 of 5 from 3, only 8 points. He did block 5 shots, had 3 assists and 5 rebounds, but the Grizzlies shot less than 30% from 3, and the Pelicans shot about 45% from 3. Zion Williamson last night, 23 and 7, 3 assists. And I don't know if you guys caught any of this game, but Stu, he had a legacy Zion close to the first half where he put a one-on-one move on, got to the rim, tomahawk dunk, then came back. Next play, caught an alley-oop from Brandon Ingram. And I'm like, oh, boy, Zion is back tonight. You know what I'm saying? But the Pelicans go into Memphis and get the opening night victory.
Yeah, as long as those ankles stay healthy, this team's going to go as far as Zion takes him. And we saw what that was a couple seasons back when he was fully healthy. This was a strong team on a night-to-night basis. Zion was consistently in that 25 to 28-point range. And nothing showed me last night that we're not back to that. He looked good, like you said. We saw some vintage Zion out there. To me, this is a strong squad. If the relationships stay strong, this is going to be a team that wins a lot of games this year.
No doubt, Tom. What are your thoughts on what you saw last night out the Pelicans?
I feel like we talk about Zion like he's like an old man already, right?
I know, right?
I know
we talk about him in the past. You talk about him in the past tense.
He's 23, and the Pelicans to me are almost. I think the Clippers are more ready, obviously, but the Pelicans and the Clippers to me are almost identical where it comes to. At this point, we have to take their health into consideration. But if they are healthy, they're going to make some noise in the playoffs, just like the Clippers will if they are healthy. The West obviously is deep, but, man, the Pelicans with Zion, they're going to be pretty good if he can stay healthy. That's just where I'm at. Brandon Ingram is a closer. He's proven he can be a closer. CJ is that veteran guard where he's going to make the right decisions. Like I mentioned earlier down the stretch, that's extremely important, underrated. And, yeah, I think the Pelicans are going to make noise as long as they are healthy. And at this point, it's tough to say they are going to be.
Hey, Stu, the Grizzlies, they may end up missing Steven Adams more than they're missing John Morant.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. We were talking about that in one of the preview shows, but man, that's such a huge loss right there. Having the enforcer, having the tank. I believe he's been voted the strongest player in the NBA like 4 years straight when all the players do their vote. Like the dude is a literal tank in the paint. And obviously we love JJJ. We love his versatility, but the foul trouble is going to be an issue all season long, especially guarding a guy like Zion. He got the blocks, but Zion also got the best of him on a lot of those plays because you can't be as aggressive when you're worried about the foul trouble.
If I'm on the phone trying to get Andre Drummond this morning.
Yeah, he had Chet on the ground after yesterday. A little point Drummond in transition, as always. I mean, it can't cost too much to get him, right? It can't. I mean,
you're right.
Second round pick. I mean, that's not asking too much at all.
I mean, he doesn't have to. He doesn't need to play any offense. You know, you don't need no offense from him. You just really need somebody like Steven Adams.
Yeah, that's actually a really good call on Drummond. He should be available. I mean, if Memphis. They're obviously going to reassess when Morant's back, around, I don't even know when that is, probably by Christmas.
December 19th.
December 19th, so right before Christmas. Yeah, I think they're going to reassess, obviously, between then and the deadline, but they're going to be in the market for a big, for sure, because Jaren Jackson, he's a beast, obviously, but he's going to get beat up.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be tough, so Grizzlies fall in night one. Kings winning cover in Utah last night. Clippers winning cover in their home opener, too. Scoot Henderson, the gentleman that was the second pick of the draft, 11 points last night, 4 assists, 0-3 from beyond the arc. The Clippers, Stu, they get the win. George, Leonard, Zubac. Listen, Russell Westbrook, 13 assists. We just talked about him possibly leading the league in assists. How about that?
I'm telling you, just put him out there. He gets that in his sleep, man. It's just all about lineups. It's all about public perception. And since so many people hate on Russ, we got a good number there. So I'm happy about that. Happy Russ is at least not making me look too dumb one game into the season. And obviously, he had that stadium fired up on a couple of those dunks. I was watching that game. I know most people were tuned into the Spurs game, but I was very curious about Scoot. That was disappointing. If you just looked at the box score, it might even look a little bit better. He had 0 points at half. All 11 of those points were in garbage time. Not a single one of those buckets mattered. I was worried. Scoot looked a little bit, I bet on him, obviously, so that tells you why I was angry watching it. But the performance was not great. It was a little concerning. It's game one. I'm not going to overreact or anything like that, but just for betting purposes, for DFS purposes, if you're looking to fire up Scoot this early, I'd say ease off a little bit. Let him get synced into this offense. Play Simons. That guy's going to chuck 23s a game every single game. That's who I want to be attacking in Portland.
What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I'm guilty. I was watching the Spurs and Mavs.
yeah, I had it on too.
No, I think I mentioned this on our show last week, Stu, is that Brogdon is going to be that veteran presence. I'm not sure if he led them in shot attempts last night, but him and Simons, those are the two guys I think that you want from Portland for sure. You're right. Scoot's disappointing, but it's rookie debut.
I have plenty of time. Look at Peyton Manning. You know what I'm saying? It's horrible in his rookie year. You know what I'm saying? But he did end up turning around and making it better. Before we get into tonight's contest, sometimes I play media critic. I was impressed with Mike Breen, Doc Rivers, and Doris Burke. If you got a chance to watch any of Knicks Celtics, that's ESPN's new NBA #1 team after foolishly letting go of Mark Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. Van Gundy took a job in Boston, senior consultant. Yeah, so easy money job for Jeff Van Gundy. But hey, Stu, I've always been a Doris Burke fan. I was surprised, Doc ain't JVG, but I thought he wasn't. Put it like this: Doc didn't ruin my basketball watching experience last night.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good lineup. I agree. I like Van Gundy a lot too. A lot of people don't. I know that's popular. He's my favorite commentator, so I was a little bummed to see that change. Obviously, I like the guys that are willing to give the refs a little shit, the players a little shit. We need that balance in our lives. We don't just need you guys telling us how good they are. But you're right. I thought this new lineup was solid. Doc Rivers, that could have gone in a lot of different directions. We really had no clue how that was
exactly.
Work, so.
That's who I was worried about was Doc. You know what I'm saying? I was worried about Doc, Tom. And listen, he's not JVG. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you're a Knicks fan, so you're going to agree with that. But I thought they was solid. My heart still hurts. You know what I'm saying? But I thought they was solid.
Yeah, it's an adjustment. Obviously, Mike Breen is the GOAT. Doris is a superstar herself.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's going to be exciting when we see Doc call a Sixers game.
Oh, that's what I'm looking forward to.
I haven't even looked. It made me think. I want to look ahead on the schedule to see when that's going to be. It's going to be interesting.
Speaking of the Philadelphia 76ers, they are in action tonight. They are in Milwaukee. TNT, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time start, Stu. 76ers, a 6-point dog in this game right here. Milwaukee comes in 6-point favorite. James Harden will not be playing tonight. His status remains James Harden. But Stu, 6 is the number. Milwaukee laying it 226.5 is the total. Anything interests you in this?
I like the Milwaukee side right here. I mean, the favorites kind of rolled day one, and I think they're clearly at this point in the season the better team. Additionally, an argument a lot of people make in the gambling space is that when a new team has new players, that there's going to be some huge adjustment period. And while that can be the case, last night it feels like we saw all the new guys ball out in their new locations, right? That's what I kind of noticed across the league. So I'm not too worried about that. I think the Sixers are obviously going to miss having that third piece there. I mean, we're going to expect a lot from Maxey, who's been great. Embiid will continue to be Embiid. New coaching gives me a lot of hope that this team will improve by the end of the season. But for now, they haven't known what to do all preseason. Will James Harden be there? Will he not be there? I think this just kind of gives a slight edge to the Milwaukee side right here.
What do you think, Tom? This one right here. If I do anything, I don't really like this game that much. If I do anything, it's probably going to be with the Milwaukee Bucks with Nick Nurse making his debut tonight.
Yeah, I can only look Milwaukee here. I'm not going to have any money on it myself. But hey, this Harden thing, until it's resolved, it's going to be a weird situation in Philly. It's tough to back them on a nightly basis. Dude just said we're expecting Maxey. The Sixers to be an all-star caliber player on a nightly basis. in order to fill those shoes in the backcourt. Because you can't rely on Tobias Harris. You obviously know we're going to get 30 and 15 from Embiid. But
Big Joe gonna do his thing.
They need somebody else that's going to have to put up 25 a night, and I think it's going to be Maxey. From what we've seen, 3 years in the NBA, he's kind of had to take it a back seat. But when he's had the minutes and has had to shoot the ball, he's produced, and I think he's going to.
All right, no doubt. Anything prop wise, Stu, you looking at in this one right here, this first game of the night?
Yeah, for me, it's Giannis rebounds. This has been one of the best bets you can make in basketball when they played the 76ers. He cashes this every single time. Every year they drop it at 10.5 when they play the Sixers. It always goes over. It's the same thing every time. Of Giannis is that roaming presence, while Brook Lopez or Bobby Portis, the other center, will be boxing out and giving him all those opportunities for rebounds. Because we know Embiid's going to be in the paint, and they don't want to tire out Giannis, putting him on Embiid all game in the paint. So this always happens. It's free rebounds for Giannis. Definitely would recommend 10.5 if it's still out there.
I like that one right there. Anything else?
That's pretty much it for me. I want to see the Sixers team. I agree with Tom about Maxey. I would sprinkle some alt lines. I think that's not a bad way if you want to take advantage. But I still need to see a lot. I'm not betting on Dame yet. I'm curious what happens there. I'm curious what the rotation are, but keeping it a little bit light for this game.
All right, and that's probably the best way to go to start the season too. What do you think, Tom, about prop wise, Milwaukee and Philadelphia?
So I think it's going to be chalky, but Maxey's points total, it was 21.5. I think during the show, I think it got bumped to 22.5. But at that 21.5, if it's still out there, I haven't looked. But he, without Harden last year, I think it was 14 games he played without Harden. He went over in 9 of them. So, and I think there was 2 of those spots where he finished with 22. So he would have lost by the hook. But, they're going to need him. And it's like, so one thing I look at is, the Bucks, we talked about Drew Holiday earlier. He's gone. He's not there. So who's going to really defend, the opposing guards? It's Dame, right? But Dame's not a defender. So
no, that's not his thing.
Yeah, I think Max is a good spot. And then, Stu touched before on new teams, but there's a familiar face that's coming back healthy this year, and it's Chris Middleton. And I'm seeing 12.5.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's I think that's a good spot. I like that.
Yeah, not 12.5 on Chris Middleton does seem pretty low. So that's a good call right there. Phoenix Suns, Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers 5.5-point home favorites. That number seems kind of high. Bradley Beal's a game time decision. Not really too much worried about him. Devin Booker is a game time decision. If Devin Booker is out, then really there's no play. I would take the 5.5 with the Phoenix Suns right now. The way you look at it, Lakers for the most part pretty healthy. Vanderbilt, Reddish, Hood, Salfino. That's about it as far as their guys go. Lakers at home laying it versus the Phoenix Suns, Stu.
Oh, this is a weird one. That number has to be telling you Booker's not playing, right?
That's what it looks like. Yeah,
it's screaming that, because there's no way Lakers are laying 5 if he is playing. So that's what it's telling me. And then at a certain point, which team's depth do you trust more? Do you trust the Suns or the Lakers? It's got to be the Lakers. So I would back the Lakers, but I would not bet that until we see any injury confirmation. Because while that's what the line is telling us, it's not set in stone yet. And I know, as you guys know, and if you're new in the chat right here, anyone will know, the NBA injury report is a mess. It is absolutely not fun to follow whatsoever. And they mess with you a lot, guys. They mess with you a lot. So you never
Arthur Smith.
If you thought that was fun, it's like that every single day in the NBA. So I'd be careful with the injury stuff, but I do like the Lakers with no Booker because there's just no depth on that team. Is it Drew Eubanks going to step up for you? I don't think so.
My man Frankie Bowl in the chat said they said Middleton isn't going to play full minutes. So there you go right there. That could be a reason for that low number. Tom, what do you think in this one right here, Suns and Lakers?
I faded the Suns night 1, and obviously that didn't work out.
Wasn't a good idea.
Yeah, it didn't work out for me. It's Warriors collapse though. But I think if I'm looking anywhere in this game, I actually don't have any props I'm liking. If anything, I would take Anthony Davis's points. He needs to bounce back. They need him. They need AD. We can get into Anthony Davis if you want, but I can only look Lakers first half. I can only look at them early.
Got it. Here's Kevin Durant, 30.5 points.
That's a high number, guys. That's a high number.
That seems like an under spot. That feels like an under spot to me. But if it's just him, you know what I'm saying? Then it could go. Then it could work against you. What do you think, Tom?
So if it's just Durant, I think what's going to happen is that they're going to get run out of the gym. LA's home opener. That's going to be, they're going to be, fans are going to go crazy. Suns are going to be down, double digits early. If it's just Durant out there, and you're going to get killed by blowout. That happens all the time with NBA props. Is blowouts kill them. So
look, this is a good one right here, my man from Steve 00. Let's please, if you have, we are more than welcome to take some of your player prop, ideas, because I have no problem putting it on my ticket. Joseph Nurkic, double plus 165, has hit 7 of the last 9 games versus Anthony Davis.
I like the spot right here. I like PRA too as well. I think the assist is a little sneaky in there too. The passing looked good in game 1. I know what you guys think. For me, Nurkic looked like he fit this team a lot better. Like you can see why they made that deal. I'm not going to sit here and say he's better than Aiden. You guys can argue. I don't care about that argument. But just in terms of a pure fit, like it looked like Nurkic actually fit very well in game 1.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I know what kind of player he is. You know what I'm saying? So if he's healthy and he's out there, he's going to give it a good effort. So I don't mind that one right there. That was something that I was looking at as well. I also, Austin Reeves, his point total, I seen 13.5. I seen 14.5. That probably normally about where he comes in at. In the 3-point made market tonight, what do we think about D'Angelo Russell over 1.5?
I'm not a D'Lo fan personally. A lot of people on Twitter bet D'Lo. I don't. I really don't. I mean, it's kind of crazy. For like the last 3 years, I've somehow avoided him a lot of the time, and I don't have a strong take here, to be honest. He's going to get the
nothing
minutes.
wrong with that.
Yeah, the Lakers are an interesting team for me from a prop standpoint, because like I said earlier, I think AD, he's going to have to be the guy night in and night out. This is his make or break season to me. Like we've been saying it for a while now, but this is it. If he's not doing it on a night-to-night basis, and night 1, we saw it in Denver, he did not show up. I mean, I don't even think he took a shot. Did he take a field goal attempt in the second half? He finished with 17 points, but just overall, they need AD to be a superstar, especially with the news that LeBron's going to play limited minutes all season long. They're going to need that second guy and probably a third to score 20 points a night. And the thing is with the Lakers, you mentioned before, Stu, their depth is really strong. But, Rui can put up 20 a night. Could be Reeves. I mean, it could be D'Lo. There's so many different guys where it's going to be inconsistently consistent there in LA with, the third or fourth guy, where normally there's a team where we're like, okay, this is a good spot for their third or fourth guy. But the Lakers, it's going to just be inconsistent. It's going to be interesting to see who shows up, though. At the house, I think all their role players usually play well at home.
No doubt. That's what it is. Tyrese Maxey, 3.5 threes made. I take under that.
Me too. I like the points more than the under. This guy's explosive, one of the fastest guys in the NBA. Let him get to the rim a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the pick and roll with him and Embiid. I think that's gonna be something to watch for sure. But yeah, he's gonna heave it up. I think his 3-point attempts is at like, I want to say it's 9. I could be wrong, but that's a lot of shots.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of 3-point attempts, right?
Yeah, for real. That is a lot right there. All right, so there you go right there. Gave you a full rundown of last night. Get you ready for the night. You know what I'm saying? I obviously wish all of you the best of luck in this one right here. Sportstopia.io is the website. You go over there throughout the course of the day, get any updated information as we get you ready for a big night in the NBA. Final 2 teams to meet on the season, Bucks and 76ers. They get it going out there in Milwaukee tonight. Damian Lillard making his debut as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. And obviously the James Harden saga will be talked about. For my boys Stu and Tom, it's Corey Parson, the fantasy executive. Hit the Sportstopia dramatic theme music.